I'm not a religious person. I'm a
Okay.
spiritual person. And there is a huge difference between the spirituality and the religion. And my
Absolutely.
experience is that often the religion is not what's going to lead people to awakening and self realization. I really believe that Ganesha is here to help us
Mm.
open the way. And so that's why I've prayed so much Ganesha. I was singing Ganesha mantra, praying Ganesha like every day, I think, just saying like, help me and remove the obstacle, and I trust you. And honestly, it worked. If you want to connect with Krishna, a lot of courage. It's going to take an enormous amount of courage.
We recently did an episode on Sri Krishna with Bhagavad Kathakar Shri Indresh Upadhyay ji, and we received a lot of love from you. This is another Hatke episode on Sri Krishna with our guest today, Matthew, aka Krishna. Krishna has an interesting story how Matthew becomes Krishna, what drove him to Krishna consciousness and on the path of spirituality and yoga. If you like such episodes of the iRonik show, make sure you like us, subscribe to our channel, and share the episode as far as you can. Do not miss out to check us out on Spotify. Enjoy. Krishna, Hare Krishna. I think
Hmm.
with the name of Krishna, we can start off this podcast. So, first of all, I'm really curious to know about. So, while speaking to you, I came to know that your real name that your mother and father gave you was Matthew.
Yes.
Tell us about this journey from Matthew to Krishna. How did Matthew become Krishna?
Okay. So first thing first is that thank you so much, Rolnik,
My
for
pleasure. My pleasure.
doing what you're doing. For me, it's so beautiful and important, and it's really a joy to meet you and to be with you today.
My
Yes.
pleasure, Krishna. My absolutely my pleasure.
Good. So the journey from the name that I had when I came into this body to like connection with Krishna consciousness. So when I came here, it was very quick for me to realize that um, something was not true and the reality that was going around. Okay, because
Hmm.
people walking on the street, not talking to each other, going to work, taking the bus, the metro, and living all their life like that, and then dying and being not super happy all the time, for me, it was clear something was not working. So, and I felt that I was not this body. I felt that I was here for a purpose. And I felt that all this personality that people were seeing in me and that I was trying to please some people and do the good thing and be recognized and fit into the system and listen to the school and listen to the government and do the good thing and all this, I was like, no, this is not me. So I started
Okay.
this search like of spirituality, this journey of spirituality to say, okay, who am I? Where do I come from? And why I am here, right? The big question that I think a lot of people are asking
Right.
themselves,
Absolutely.
right? So I started this journey and I was, yeah, I think I was like 12 or 13 years old. And I went into many different paths. So I followed like the red path of the native from North America, and then the Buddhist path, and then the path of the Celtic and the Wiccan tradition. So I studied many, many, many spirituality, and I clean a lot of stuff. Like in yoga, we say like we need to clean like the channel, the nadi, and do all this process of getting rid of all what we don't
Hmm.
need. So I did that for many, many years and travel on my own for years and did many initiation. And one day I start seeing when I went into India, I saw like those statues and I was attracted to India and I saw those statues. And when I saw them, the deity and like the incense and the colors and even like the Indian people, I was like, this is like, I recognize this, right? I feel home. And I was like, this is it. And then I started doing yoga and I just felt that I was, yeah, I was on my path, and it was clear for me. Like everything else had prepared me to come onto that path. And there was no more doubt about it. So it was just like being back on track. And I just have to watch what's going to happen and trust, right? So
I,
I just did that, and I prayed so much. I prayed since I was a kid to come to know who I was and to know the truth about this reality. I've prayed so much. So I believe that when we have this heart aspiration, it's like if we tell the universe and we tell our higher consciousness that we are ready to know, and then it just comes.
okay. So when you finally decided that Matthew decided to become Krishna and change your name to Krishna and uh, follow the path of Hinduism. So this is
Yeah.
a bit of personal question. I mean, I don't want to sound rude, but was there any opposition from your family? I mean, were they against it? Were they for it? How? What was their reaction?
Yeah, it's a good question because, and this is something that is on the path. Okay, so when we move higher and higher and
Hmm.
higher into consciousness, and we realize that we are not this body, we are not this personality, we are not this mind, then everything change. And the
Right.
friends and the family and the community, when they start seeing that you're not the same anymore and you're not acting like they're used that you're acting, then it's confronting, right? Because it's like if you're being true, you're aligned and you're being true and you don't try to please anybody anymore. And you're like, no, this is me. I know this is me. So, yes, the family can be like, there's distance that can be created,
Hmm.
like misunderstandings, maybe sometimes judgment, but it's part of it.
Right.
But no matter what happened, no matter if the friends are going away, no matter if there's distance with the family or if there's new friends, all of this is not the most important. The most important is to stay in the center of who we are and to stay aligned with our soul. And everything outside will come to test to see if we are ready to stay true. And this is what it is about. So
So,
yes, the family can be like not necessarily receptive at some level,
okay.
and sometimes yes, but the most important is to stay true. This is what's important. Then the universe will make things happen how they need to happen.
As you mentioned that you have been fascinated by Hinduism once you visited India. So was it the only, the color, the what we call in Hindi puja, right? Was it only the that part of it, or the idols, the deities that you saw as structures, or all those, or was it the overall Hinduism culture that really attracted you towards Hinduism?
Yeah. Okay. So what really struck me and what really attracted me was the deity.
Okay.
The deity for me, it was clear. I recognized them. The power was so clear for me. So this is the thing that really attract me. But then what is important is that I don't consider I'm not a religious person. I'm a
Okay.
spiritual person. And there is a huge difference between the spirituality and the religion. And my
Absolutely.
experience is that often the religion is not what's going to lead people to awakening and self realization, it's the spirituality. And for me, that was clear. That was clear that what was attracting to me, it was the spirit. It was the
Okay.
spirit calling me.
So what was the first deity that attracted you towards Hinduism?
Yeah, so it was Ganesha. So it was my sister, my younger sister, who's also like a yogi. And she gave me, when I was going to India, she gave me a necklace with a Ganesha on it.
Okay.
And she told me, yeah, she told me like Ganesha is gonna like remove all obstacle in front of you. So just
Okay.
trust.
So I'm
So I,
just interrupting you. Ganesha is also known as, in it's a Sanskrit term. Vigna Harta is a Hindi and Sanskrit term. So Vigna is the obstacles that you said, any obstacles in your life. Harta is someone who can take away those obstacles from your life. So
yeah,
you're absolutely right. I mean, your sister was absolutely right when she mentioned that.
yeah. And I knew that I was going to have a lot of obstacle on
Yeah.
this.
Another fact for you, probably you would know that any, puja or anything that in a Hindu family, it starts with Ganesha.
Yeah,
Even if you are performing puja to some other deity, it will start with Ganesha.
yeah. Wow. And see, because that's what we need. I really believe that Ganesha is here to help us
Mm.
open the way. And so that's why I've prayed so much Ganesha. I was singing Ganesha mantra, praying Ganesha like every day, I think, just saying like, help me and remove the obstacle, and I trust you. And honestly, it worked. It worked. And it's hard to explain for people who don't necessarily believe in it. But I'm telling people who don't believe in it, it doesn't matter if you don't believe in it. Do it and you will see it will work.
It's actually not something you can, force someone to believe. It is
No.
actually to something to be felt. It's more
Yes.
like something you will have to feel it to believe it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Please
Yes.
carry on.
Yes. So Ganesha was the first, and it's I saw him like his face into mountains when I was
Mm.
traveling and everywhere, like in temples. So I knew that he was there for me, like in restaurant with like Ganesha always. And I was like, okay, he's there, he's with me. So I just need to trust. And then, so I did a lot of my path like that. And then at some point, I was like, okay, I did a long journey, and now I'm ready to let go of what I need to let go. Okay, because if we are not this personality, if we are not this body, if we are not our job, if we are not all the things that we possess, then we need to let go of them to see our true nature. So I was like, okay, now I'm ready to let everything go. So I knew it was Shiva, right? So then I
Okay.
start my journey with Shiva, and I just prayed Shiva to say, I'm ready. Everything that need to go, I'm ready. And I trust. And this is a big leap of faith because I start to see all my friends going away, right? They just left. Like the people I really love, like distance, my job went away, my house went away, my land went away. I had no more money at all, like zero, no more money. Um, and then I remember I was meditating one day and I had just like my suitcase and I was like in an apartment of my friend and I was meditating and I was like, I'm not getting up before I understand that something really shift in my life. And I meditate for like 6 hours
Wow.
and then I fell asleep because I didn't have any more energy. And the next morning, my older sister called me and she said, Dad left his body, right? And so when that happened, my whole consciousness shift. I went to see his body in his house and I like felt him all around. And this is when I understood that yeah, one of probably one, if not the most important things of my life was gone of his body. And this is where I understood that the most important thing in my life was to realize truly who I was and that I had nothing to lose anymore. Nothing. And I just completely dive into my sadhana for like 2 years full on with Shiva. And at some point, one of my teachers, she told me like, okay, it's enough. You don't have anything to lose anymore. You can stop praying Shiva a little bit, give yourself a break, and understand now that it's time for you to connect with Krishna.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's when your attraction toward Krishna started. Was it
Well, I was all
immediate attraction?
yeah, I always felt that strong attraction toward Krishna, but Because
Okay.
I wasn't the personality of Matthew, I was like, no, Krishna is just having so much fun all the time, and he's just like hanging around, and everybody likes him, and he's making joke, and he's super wise at the same time, and he's. And I was like, no, he's like, I feel attracted, but at the same time, it's like. And when my teacher told me that, I was like, okay, maybe it's true. Sometimes what we push away is our greatest teacher, right? So I told myself, maybe I'm taking all of this too seriously. And if I take this spiritual journey so seriously, maybe I'm never going to get it. And I think that is very true. If we take it too seriously, we're going to get to a wall and we won't be able to cross on the other side. So this is when Krishna came into my life,
Okay.
and I accepted to like surrender in love and in joy.
What was that one thing that attracted you to Krishna? And actually, two questions. What was that one thing that attracted you towards Krishna? And what's that one thing that keeps you hooked on to Krishna?
Yeah. Okay. So one thing that really attracted me to Krishna, it was his natural ability to love everybody, to love
Okay.
everybody, and at the same time to love even his enemy, right? Krishna is able to love his enemy and say like, no, you're not doing the good thing. Like, wake up, right? But he loves them. And then when the enemy is defeated, he's like, okay, now you understand, you get my imprint on you, go back to the great ocean of creation, and that's it, right? So that really attracted me because Krishna is not like, he don't want like bad for anybody. He loves everybody. And this is natural for him. So I think this is really what resonate inside me, because even like for me, every human being, the worst human being on the
Mm.
planet, I don't hate them, I love them. So this was my connection with Krishna all my life. I knew that there is something bigger going on, and there's no reason to hate anybody here.
Wow.
So it was love, unconditional love.
Okay. Uh,
And courage and truth. Unconditional love, courage, and truth were the most powerful things that resonate with me in Krishna.
okay. Tell us more about Krishna. What have you learned during your spiritual journey and your attachment toward Krishna? And I'm pretty sure that you also mentioned while we are speaking that you have read Bhagavad Gita, the Rig Vedas, and everything. So,
Yeah.
what is about Krishna that you have learned?
Yeah. Okay. So, what I would say is that all of this, okay, all this reality,
Hmm.
okay, this is the great Leela, right? The great play, okay? And what happened is that we are unconscious. When we come into this plane of existence, we enter into unconsciousness. Okay, so it's like if we fell asleep and we forgot where we come from, who we are, and why we are here. And this is the great play of making the spiritual journey back to awakening, self realization, consciousness, and enlightenment. And for me, Krishna is the one who comes back life after life after life after life in Krishna, in Buddha, in Rama to say, this beautiful world, we love it. The truth is that we love this planet. And I'm here to help you to see it so that everybody can preserve it. Because everybody have inside them Krishna, Vishnu, Buddha, and all of them. And this essence of preservation, we all want to keep living on this planet in a beautiful way. But it's not going to happen if we don't realize who we are. So for me, what I've learned that is the most important of Krishna's messages is we love this place, we love nature, we love Prakriti. and we need to take care of it with love. And for that, to stop the war, and Krishna has tried in many ways, right, to fight against the evil, but the only way is through self realization. And I think this is why I'm here, and this is Krishna consciousness. Being here and saying, I'm going to be true with you because I love you and I know the path and I can show it to you when you're ready.
That's beautiful. It is said that the deity that you worship, the deity that you follow, you then unconsciously or consciously absorb some of their traits. Someone who
Yes,
follows Shiva will have some traits of Shiva. Someone who follow uh, Bajrang Bali or Hanuman, as you would know, will have their traits. So, do you feel that you have absorbed some of the traits of Krishna in you?
absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. What I know is that, in fact, when we make the spiritual journey to spirit and to our soul, this is when we discover our spiritual nature,
Hmm.
right? That is not the personality, nothing to do with the personality. So we discover our true nature, and maybe for some it's Hanuman, Shiva, and all the other deity of this lineage or of other lineage. There's many
Hmm.
lineage. So when we see that and we open our chakra and energy center and the crown chakra, we open ourselves so that this spiritual being come down into the incarnation. You follow?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So what happened is that we are open for the divine to inhabit this body. So that's why the whole personality changed, because it's the spiritual nature coming in front of the being and being incarnate on the planet. So if it's Shiva, people will start to act more like the divine, like Shiva. If
Hmm.
it's Krishna, it's going to be like Krishna, you know? So, absolutely. And this is where it's important to surrender, to trust, and let go of the personality and let go of the fear and of the ego.
Okay.
So,
So, is
yes,
this process is this process easy, or it takes a lot of years? I mean, a lot of meditation and a lot of hard work to absorb those traits and to have those. I mean, traits of your idol or the deity that you follow to have absorb their traits. Is it through this path of spirituality that you have to walk for years and years? How is that whole process? How does that work? How has that worked for you, and how it typically works?
okay. So, yes, it takes work, it takes discipline, it takes discernment, it takes courage, it takes immense amount of love, because this is all the willingness that we need to achieve that, right? This is the game. It's not necessarily easy. So the path is clear. The path of yoga really work if we do the whole path to its roots, and that's what I did. So
Okay.
what I know is that, in the Bhagavad Gita, that's what we talk about. The whole different way of yoga that are important, right? Like bhakti yoga, like devotion is important. Like karma yoga, they're all important. The asana is important because we need a strong, aligned body to absorb this energy, because the vibration is so high that if we don't have a strong body, people get heartsick, people can vomit because the energy is so strong that people get dizzy if they
Okay.
don't do the asana, and they're not able to stand in meditation long enough to absorb this light energy. So yes, it takes work. Yes, it will take everything. I'm sorry. It will take everything. It will take everything, because this is everything. And I think that nowadays people are ready. So I think it doesn't need to take many life. I know it can be done in 2 years and even faster.
Okay. So my here comes my next question. What is the way to reach Krishna, as per you?
Yeah. Okay, well, through yoga, this is absolutely sure,
Okay.
because it opened the channel. So through the whole path of yoga, this is the path of Krishna, right? This is like yoga. He talks about it. So
Hmm.
if you do what he say, you're gonna connect with him. And then playfulness, right? Because this is a great game. So if I'm not enjoying it and if I'm not playing, it's like not a lot of chance that I will feel the energy of Krishna. So play, love, developing unconditional love. So every time it's challenging, like open to love because love is always there. And Krishna is like full of love. So open to love, courage. Okay, if you want to connect with Krishna, a lot of courage. It's going to take an enormous amount of courage. And courage is basically acting from your heart. So, more action from your heart, being true. The more true you are with yourself, the faster you will connect because Krishna is truth, right? So, if you want to connect with truth, well, you need to be true. And
Wow.
then, like, I don't know if you heard about like the ras, Krishna ras, the great dance that he do with the gopi, right?
Raslila.
Yeah. So basically, like in Krishna, he even talk about it like in the Bhagavad Gita. It is an elixir.
Hmm.
So through the practice of yoga, through developing the quality, and through drinking the elixir of the God, you will reach Krishna. You will reach Krishna consciousness. You will reach your soul, and you will realize who you are and the source. And without it, there is not a lot of success if there is success at all. So, the great Leela and the great source of all of this, it's the elixir of the God.
So when you say the elixir of the god, do you mean the Somamrit?
Yeah, so Somamrita, Soma, there's many kind of Soma.
Mm-hmm.
Somamrita is the elixir of non-death, right? So we understand that there
Okay.
is no death. And this is when the priests, the Vedic priests, took it. This is when they went to see the God and they realized who they were. And then they came back and they were like, what can harm us as we know who we are? As we know we are not this body. So let's
Hmm.
drink. Let's drink this elixir to know and not forget again who we are. And slowly we open and we realize everything.
Okay. And how does one find this elixir of God or the Somamrit as you spoke?
That's a good question. So it is a very complex elixir, right? It took me like years of like profound research and seeking and prayers and meditation to find it. So how one can find it first, I think like I know that one need to be ready and to be
Okay.
completely devoted to this path. And when that happen, the elixir will come to you. It will come to you, and it's probably much closer than you think. So basically, like there's like some ingredient that are important. It's such a sacred elixir, and that's why when you start to understand Somamrita, that it's like the milk of the cow is super important. Okay, like so fermented milk is super important in the elixir, and that's when you can understand why the cow are so sacred and
Mm-hmm.
why Krishna is taking so much care of the cow. So fermented milk from the cow is super important, and then ghee is super important. The butter that become ghee is super important.
Mm-hmm.
With this, you do the extraction of Ganga. Okay, it's a
Okay.
huge process, and then I'm gonna tell you a little bit more about it because I love
Yeah,
to.
please go ahead.
Okay, so then in the Somamrita, and you can search for it. There is psilocybin mushrooms. Okay, and psilocybin mushroom grows on cow dung.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, and this is why cow were so sacred because they give the psilocybin mushrooms and they give the fermented milk, and they give the butter who will become the ghee.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at psilocybin mushrooms, when you take them, they're blue. So, yeah, so, like, why is Krishna blue, right? And
Mm-hmm.
why is like this whole thing when they churn the ocean and then the liquid comes out and
Right.
Shiva comes to save everybody and he's like taking it into his mouth and then he become blue, right? So you can connect all the dots when you understand that all of this has been put here so that we can recreate that super powerful elixir and very fast understand everything that's going on. So,
Okay.
Somamrita, how one can do it? Lots of devotion, lots of openness, lots of readiness, lots of like doing the path. Just focus on the path and it will come. It will come. It's all made in a perfect way.
So one thing that I would like to really, I'm really interested to know. So you just mentioned what is the way to reach Krishna, right?
Yeah.
And this goes for all the other deities. What is that, or what are those things which are a myth about Krishna, or which is not the exact truth about Krishna, which someone who does not know about Krishna would probably just make up something in his mind, but that's not the truth.
Yeah. Well, you say it very well. You say it very well. Somebody will make up something in his mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the property of the mind. That's the vritti of the
Hmm.
mind. Making stories that are not
Yes.
true. So, what is true about Krishna and what is not true about Krishna? Well, it's very simple, right? It's very simple. Like, what is true is that Krishna exists. Krishna is here. Krishna is everywhere. Krishna is complete unconditional love. Krishna is the way. Krishna is the way to awakening and self realization. And Krishna is here for everybody without exception. So,
Okay.
this is what's important. And Krishna is from the source and is a direct line. It's a direct line to the source. And this is clear. And there is no doubt about it. Everything else, it's not important.
Okay. Okay.
Everything else is not as important because ultimately the line is clear, right? So
Hmm.
some people will say, oh, like it's okay to do the war because Krishna tell Arjuna you need to fight and all of this. Ultimately, those are stories that needed to happen so that people can understand something. And
Hmm.
ultimately, what is there to understand with, for example, the Bhagavad Gita is that at the end of the day, the war didn't resolve the situation. Arjuna and the Pandavas were not in peace. They were the king of the
Yes.
kingdom with everything they needed, and they were not at peace. So, what have they done? They left to the Himalaya to realize who they were, and that's when they reach inner peace and inner joy. So, no war will end violence on this planet. And the only way is self realization. So, I think that's the message. I think that's the message, and that I think that's what is the most true about Krishna is that the way is to realize who we are. And once we realize who we are, everything comes into place.
Okay. So I have another very related question. I mean, the topic that you are just speaking about. So my question is, what, as per you, what is the, or as per the Krishna's path, what is the core of all suffering in this world? What is
Oh,
that one thing? Is
yeah.
it, your greed, or is it, the
Yeah.
unending thirst of having everything, owning everything, and not giving it to, the higher being, just wanting more and more? So what do you think is the core of all suffering in this world?
Yeah. So I know that the suffering, the root cause of suffering is ignorance.
Okay.
Okay. And what I mean by ignorance is unconsciousness. So, as long as someone is unconscious of the ultimate reality and of who they are, they have fear of everything outside that they're not controlling. Okay. So, ignorance lead to fear. You follow?
Yeah.
Okay. And then fear lead to all kind of behavior that just bring more suffering. Okay.
Okay.
Because you're fear you won't have enough money, so you become greedy. You're fearful that somebody will threaten you and that you will lose this body, so you will fight. You're afraid of a bunch of things. So fear is one of the strongest demon, one of the strongest vritti of the mind, that the only way to overcome is to realize who you are, because then you have nothing to lose and you're not afraid anymore. And once you're conscious, then there's no more suffering. It's the end of suffering. Self-realization and enlightenment is the end of suffering. And all suffering comes from attachment and fear that comes from ignorance. So the root is ignorance, attachment, fear, and so forth and so on.
Okay. You have spoken a lot about love.
Yeah,
Since the beginning of the podcast, since we started talking about Krishna, you have just spoken about unconditional love. So, for you, from Krishna's perspective, I mean, when I say Krishna, I mean you, what is love? How do
yeah,
you just explain love?
yeah. Okay. So love is an energy. Okay, love is, in my experience, the most powerful, the most blissful, the most joyful energy that exists in the whole universe. And how we can experience more love and unconditional love, because unconditional love means without any condition. So it
Yeah.
means that you open yourself, you open yourself to feel that energy, because the energy of love is everywhere, all the time, always, in all space.
Hmm.
Okay. So it's not about trying to get love from someone else. It's not about trying to do something to be love in return. It's not about that. This will never fulfill the desire to feel love. This will be fulfilled if one open itself. That's why we talk about the chakra and yoga. You open your heart chakra, and the more you open to whatever is, the more you will feel love. The more you open to love, the more you will feel love and see all the condition going away. It doesn't mean that you will necessarily spend your time with certain people or do certain things. It's just you will love no matter what. You feel love no matter what. So I feel love for you no matter what, right? I like, you're so beautiful and you're so amazing, and I can see like all your beauty, so I feel all this love, right? And this is for everybody. So for me, this is what love is recognizing that love is always there, and this is what everybody really want to feel. So we just need to open ourselves to see each other and to love each other, because the truth is that we really love each other.
I've started loving you. That was beautiful. That was beautiful, Krishna. Okay. Uh, since you're just talking about yoga, let's continue that discussion. You're big time into yoga. I
Yeah,
believe you also conduct classes for the people.
yeah,
How do you get into yoga? And my next part of the question is, how important is yoga and meditation
yeah,
to start that path of spirituality and be on it? How does it help?
yeah. Okay, so what I would say is that it's clear for me that self realization comes from yoga. Okay,
Okay.
if you look out, like, what is the root of self realization? Where does this concept and this experience come from? It comes from yoga. Okay, this is very clear. So, why yoga is important? because it's the path that's going to lead you to who you are.
Okay.
Right? So how did I get into yoga? I think it's because like my sister was doing yoga, and one day I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go in a yoga class. Why not?" Like people are nice, people are beautiful, people seem to enjoy. So let's go and try it out. And I joined my first yoga class, and after the class, the teacher went to me and she said, "You should be a yoga teacher. You would be great." And at this time, I was like, "I don't think so." And it just went away. And like happened. And I realized that the more yoga I do, the full path of yoga, the
Hmm.
full path of yoga, the more I do it, the more I realize that everything about yoga, like ultimately, is true. Okay? Like it's true. The path will lead you to awakening and self realization. And I realized that the more I do it, the more I was coming close to that. And why it's important? It's important because meditation helps to focus your attention on a certain point, right? This is what meditation is about. Focus on a certain point and keep your attention straight on that line. And why it's important is because when we get into altered state of consciousness, if we don't have the concentration and the ability to focus our attention, we get lost into other dimension. And if we want to get to the source, we need to focus on one point, which is the source, and follow it. And without powerful meditation, it's not possible. So meditation is important for that. And all parts of yoga are important, like asana is important for the body,
Hmm.
like kirtan and bhajan to open the heart, because you need to open all your chakra. So yeah, yeah, yoga, you guys are important because it's union.
Okay.
So
So
if people are tired to feel separate, yoga is the way.
if you have to explain the stages of yoga, or if someone is just starting out on the yoga journey and the meditation journey, so what are the stages of yoga? I mean, uh, if I have to tell you in a very layman's language, I mean, someone who goes to a gym, first he has to do some stretchings, then some warm-ups, suddenly then go ahead with do the cardio exercises, and after maybe a certain point of time, maybe a couple of weeks after that, they will start doing the weight exercises, the heavy weight exercise, all those things. So when someone is just has started the his yoga journey, meditation journey, what are the stages to it? How does one evolve in his yoga journey?
Yeah. Okay. So what I would say is, when someone feel the calling to start the journey of yoga, it is to do what feel good in the heart. So if, for example, for some people, what feel good in the heart is to do the asana, I would tell
Hmm.
the person, start like this, start doing asana, and start to discipline yourself. Even if you just do like one sun salutation every morning, do it. So start with what you love. If you start with what you don't like and what is so hard, you're gonna give
Hmm.
it up. So if
Right.
it's sana, start with asana. Meditation, dhyana, start with meditation. If it's mantra, start with mantra, right? If it's like bhajan, start with bhajan, with music. But then practice this as much as you like and start to implement in your sadhana what is more challenging, because they're all important. So if you start with mantra, then start doing meditation, even if it's just 1 minute every day. Start doing meditation and start doing asana, even if it's just 15 minutes a day. And keep doing it. Open, keep doing it, and teacher will come. What you need will come. If someone is ready, everything will come in place. So it's just happening. So people like start doing meditation 1 minute a day, start doing asana,
Hmm.
just sun salutation in one posture, and then start singing, start playing music, and enjoy the process, enjoy the opening, enjoy. Enjoy. This is all about enjoying. Yeah. Meeting people, practicing together, opening. And the more we open, the more we are ready, the faster we get there.
Okay. Tell us about the you are mentioning that in order to get the traits of the deity that you love or you follow, you have to open your heart chakra, the crown chakra, for that spirit to get inside you, right?
Yeah.
Tell us something about these chakras and how one can activate their chakras. I know there are seven chakras, but I would request you to, if you can just explain these seven chakras and what can one do to activate these seven chakras.
Okay. So that's really beautiful question. Okay. So first there is what, like, for example, somebody can pray a certain deity, like, for example, Shiva, and
Hmm.
say, oh, I want to be Shiva. For example, I want like more of Shiva inside me. Okay. So this is good and this will help. And at the same time, it might not be the ultimate realization that someone will have. The connection, like, I thought that the ultimate connection I would have would be with Shiva,
Hmm.
right? This is what
Right.
I thought here. And when I went super deep into meditation and out of my body, and when I went into spirit, I realized it was not, it was clearly not Shiva, right?
Okay.
So this is important to understand, is that, like, it's good to, like, feel any deity that we feel called to and not be attached to it, because if we are attached to it, we are blocking the universal consciousness to give us what we really need and to show us who we really are. So not being attached,
Okay.
first thing. If I'm attached to anything, I'm closing myself, and I close the chakra to what is real and to the ultimate truth. So how to open the chakra? Open yourself to whatever is. Okay. And then practical exercise, for example, that really help is, okay, meditation really help if people, like, for example, for the first chakra, the root chakra, if someone is meditating and bring all the attention to the root chakra and you just start to feel it, you just bring all your attention there and you relax and you feel it. And maybe it will take some time, but after a moment, you will start to feel a certain energy. Okay. That is very, like, it's a good energy. It's like tasting sweet honey. Okay. So you bring your attention, and the more you want to feel something, the more you bring your attention, the more you will feel it. And then the root chakra, this is where the Kundalini is. So the more we bring attention to the root chakra and to the Kundalini, the more we feel it. And slowly it will start to move inside. And people will feel it. And you feel it in your first chakra. And then it open itself. If you bring your
Okay.
attention somewhere and you put lots of love and you relax the stress and you relax the muscle, it will open itself. And you will start to feel it. And what can really help is doing meditation with a specific intention and using ganja in the dark or with a candle, because ganja quiet the mind if you use it well, and it will help you to bring all your attention in that chakra, and it will help you to open it. But you need to do it with a certain intention. You need to do it in a spiritual sacred way, because if you're using ganja to, like, escape your problem, you're gonna become numb, and ganja will be like, okay, you just want to, like, escape your problem and become numb,
Hmm.
I'm gonna give you that, right? But if you use ganja to open yourself to who you are, it can do miracle. So
Okay.
this is for the first chakra, and then it's the same for every chakra. You bring your attention to open those chakra, and you sit and you meditate, and you just let it open and you feel it. You will feel it will open. And your throat, same thing. And the more you go deep into practice, the more it will open, the more it will unlock everything that was blocked. And then there's many asana that will help. There's like each asana help to open the chakra. So you can look it up. You can do some research, like opening, for example, like throat chakra, what help. Then you do the fish, for example, and you open your
Hmm.
throat, and you open your chest, for example. Okay, or you do the wheel, and it's even like you open everything. So that's why the asana are so important.
Okay.
So
So
meditation, bija mantra for each chakra. So powerful. You sit, you do the bija mantra with a fire or with a candle. With a fire, it's even more powerful. You sit in front of the fire and you do the bija mantra with each chakra. And if you do it with ganja in a very sacred way, you will realize stuff that you cannot imagine.
okay, for listeners, if you could please explain what is Beej Mantra.
It's the seed mantra. So it's a sound. Those are like the primordial sound of the creation that create this whole holographic reality. And with those seeds mantra that are connected with our chakra, with the wheel of energy, when you repeat them, it helps to activate them and it helps to open. And what happens is that the more you open the chakra, the more love and the energy can go through you. Because, like I told you, love, energy, light, everything is always here present. So it's just a matter of opening ourselves to feel it go through us. So Bija mantra help to open and activate the chakra. In meditation, if you have good attention and you bring all your attention there, and if you use all the technique and all the tool of dhyana meditation with a fire, with incense if you can, with like cross leg position, if you can get into lotus position at some time, it's incredible the energy that can circulate. And if you can use ganja in a sacred way, you can move forward on the path very fast.
So Krishna, my next question is on the use of ganja, right? You
Yeah,
just mentioned. So in India, weed is not legal, right? There are certain parts of the I think most of the countries have not legalized uh, weed consumption legal, but still there are some certain countries which have legalized weed, right? So if I have to talk about a typical practice in Central America, which is ayahuasca, right, wherein
yeah.
they use certain intoxicants to activate your chakras and to get you into the path of spirituality. So are you when you say use of ganja to calm your mind and uh, do meditation, so are you referring to a certain parallel practice to that of ayahuasca?
Um, no, ayahuasca is different.
Okay.
I did ayahuasca, and it's a different lineage. Okay, there's many. They called it medicine. Ayahuasca is like in Spanish is like
Hmm.
medicina.
Hmm.
So this is a different path that will bring people to a profound healing journey, profound realization, and a lot of like wonderful and amazing gift. Like in ayahuasca, it's a whole tradition and it's a whole lineage of its own. It's like I did like ceremonies of ayahuasca, but at some point on the path, it's important to choose one path and one lineage. Otherwise, the door of
Hmm.
consciousness cannot open. So there's a moment where I had to choose, and it was like, okay, what do I choose? And for me, it was yoga. So ayahuasca will bring people into the reality and dimension that ayahuasca can bring
Hmm.
people, which is extraordinary. But it is not the same. It's not the same realization. It's not the same path.
Okay. I will just request if you can quickly tell us a bit how was your ayahuasca experience, what happens there.
Okay, so like what happens there? Well, for me, it's interesting that you're asking this question. Very beautiful. I love it. when I did my ayahuasca ceremony, it's the first time that I felt so much love inside me. So it's beautiful that you're asking this. It's the first time that I felt like so
Hmm.
much love that was there. And it was a profound realization. So everybody got their own journey with ayahuasca. But me, I remember the first time I remember like the woman singing, and it was so beautiful. And it's the first time that I understood what love is and how it can be felt and how powerful it is.
Okay.
Yeah. And then
Okay.
like there's all those journey with ayahuasca. We go into other dimension and we meet other
That's
being,
not a theme of the
right?
discussion, so we'll leave that out. So my next part of question is related to Krishna, but not exactly Krishna. You have read the Bhagavad Gita, right? So if I
Yes.
have to ask you, tell us five lessons of the Bhagavad Gita that you just that you follow and that you also would want everyone to follow in this world.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing of the Bhagavad Gita is when Arjuna is trapped into all the conflict of his mind on the battlefield before going into battle, right?
Right.
He's like going crazy. He's like, I cannot fight. This is my family and all of this. And he's going crazy. He dropped his weapon and he don't want to fight. So, and he want to know what's going on. He want to know the truth. So Krishna show him who he is. Krishna say, okay, you want to know who am I? This is who am I. In Arjuna, it blows his mind, right? It transcends. When we say it's going to blow your mind, it's
Hmm.
because it transcends the mind. And Arjuna see the truth of who is Krishna. So then we can understand that Arjuna was not seeing who Krishna was truly. And Krishna is showing Arjuna who he is. And the invitation for me in that is that everybody can see who they truly are themselves and who the other is truly. And when we all see who we truly are, we live in a different world.
Okay.
So this is one of the lessons that we are not who we think we are. Krishna was not who Arjuna thought he was, and he's telling Arjuna, this family is not who you think they are, right? So to remember that this personality, this body is not who we are truly, and the journey of yoga is to realize that.
Okay.
So this is a
That's
message,
number
and
one. Yeah.
yeah, and then that the whole practice of yoga will lead you to realize this first thing that you are not who you think you are, and that everybody around is not who you think they are. So every practice of yoga is important, not just one. And I see a lot of people, they're stuck into one and they don't get to self realization. I'm like, of course, everything is important. So, second, every path is important and all aspects of yoga are important. Second one. And third one, he talk about Soma Amrita, right? He say like he clearly state that they drank the nectar of the god, the Soma juice. So third one, Soma is the root of yoga. Soma for me, it's the root of yoga. And if we want to get back to the roots of who we are, we need to follow the whole path to the roots of it, and the root of it is the elixir of the god. And that's
Okay.
clear. So those I would say are the three main important thing. And the last one is, or the fourth one is that at the end of the day, it was a huge massacre. We've tried out. We did this war. It was a huge massacre. A lot of people died, and we had peace for some years. But At the end of the day, Arjuna and the Pandavas were not in peace, and they had to leave to the Himalaya to realize who they were, and war came back. So the message is that no matter what we do, violence is not going to work. No matter how much war we wage upon this world, it will not work. So for me, that's important, and the only thing that will work is if we come in peace inside, if we learn who we are, and if we drop all
Hmm.
the weapons.
That's beautiful, Krishna. Uh, Krishna, before we let you go, I would just request you, because there are a lot many young listeners of the podcast, right? What would be your message for them?
For the young,
Yeah.
oh my God, like first, I love them so much. They're so beautiful. Like, and my message to you, all the young people, is that you are so perfect. You are so beautiful. You are so full of potential. And just trust, trust that you are perfect. Trust that you are wonderful. And don't take it personal, whatever people are telling you, whatever family, friends, government, anything is telling you. Don't take it personal. And remember, you are divine and everything is perfect. Everything will work out. And yeah, we're here for you. All the young people, like, you are here for us and we are here for you. Because once we are gone, you will keep carrying the flame. So, and I believe in you. I believe in you. All the young, you're just wonderful, and you will live in a wonderful world. I have no doubt about it.
Thank you, Krishna. That brings us to the end of this beautiful podcast, Krishna. And thank you so much. There was so much to, more than learning, I would say it was just beautiful listening to you. The
Mm.
way you speak about Krishna, the way you speak about yoga and meditation, it really shows how passionate and how much in love you are with Krishna. So that really comes out when you speak. I had a really wonderful time with you, speaking to you, and I hope you too had a wonderful time.
Yes, it was fantastic. It went so fast. I'm like, oh, but like, I want to keep speaking with you. So, thank you so much, Ronik, for this wonderful opportunity. I'm just so grateful for your work and all of what you're doing and your wisdom in doing what you're doing. It's precious, and I just hope to see you again, maybe in India or
Sure. So
on.
whenever you are in India, we will definitely catch up.
Yes, we will.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
Krishna. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great blessing. Much love to you.
Same here. Same here. Much love to you from the iRonik show.
Yes.
Thank you.
Take care.